Hello, Mo. Hey, how you guys doing? This great. I'm. Oh yes, music's coming in late. You know, when you're out here circling the planet Myers, you know, you're just basically gotta. You know, it takes a delay from the headquarters. You know, at least a 2 or 3 second delay. The thousands of miles, the hundreds of thousands of miles that reach me at the Myers planet exterior place. It's called basically the red planet because everything here is red. Other than that, it's pretty good. So yeah, you've made it. You've all made it, and I'm glad I'm able to be here for you guys. It's the what night is it? It's the oh yeah, it's the. Well, we'll think about that for a second. It's the off night. I'm just kidding. It's the off night, folks. You know, I had a moment there. I felt like I was I don't know, House Speaker, something like that. You know, who's the Senate Speaker that keeps losing his mind? Yeah, well, we'll talk about him later. Anyway, I have to get a list of people because I'm starting to lose my own mind periodically. But it's you know, oxygen deprivation up here. So I'm circling the planet Mars. Myers. I will have to get out of the space shuttle for a sec here to unhook. And continue to orbit. But it's very fun. I'm glad we're gonna have a lot of people here. I'm gonna bring on Mr. Mark Sweetman, who is the commander of the trip.
Hey, wow! Well, you just set the record. I believe that was the longest intro.
Well, it was actually the senior moments. Okay, charging complete. I've got to go out into the space to unhook from the.
Go ahead.
From the space station, so I'll be back in a second.
I can take it from here. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be back.
All right. Anyway, that was Andy. That's that's my sidekick. Been with us since about episode, I don't know, I think about episode 32 or something like that. It's episode 177. It's the first episode of our fall shows. 177. Can hardly believe it. Ran into Seth Ressler down at the Motor City Comedy Festival, who started this with me back 2 weeks after the epidemic started. And we decided to do this, sort of an outlet for the comics. We were the first ones because we did it right as the pandemic started. As it turned out, after the pandemic had been around 6 months and people realized we weren't getting back to work in about 5 or 6 weeks, everybody started doing a streamcast or a podcast. So we were the originals, though. We're still here. We still do this every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. That would be 5 Pacific time. And we've actually done 3 shows from the West Coast. We did one from a Delta Airlines flight. And it's been quite exciting, some of the things we've done. I've been working with one of our co-hosts, Jason Grant. And we're going to start piecing this thing off and see if we can get some more play out of it. Learn some interesting things at the Motor City Comedy Festival about using social media and streaming and podcasts and things like that. And if you listen to Mike Eshak, originally from Detroit, now he lives out in Vegas, he'll tell you that you don't have to be funny. You just have to have followers. And, that's how they're all making their money now. So we'll look to do that. Anyway, let me kick the music down here. I forgot all about that. Here we go. There we go. Did it go off? All right, it's off. All right, let me get Andy. Let me get Andy back in. There he is.
Hey, back. Yeah, just got unhooked from the space station there.
Good.
So,
all right. Well, let's get Susan out because she's not with me tonight. She's at the undisclosed location.
Oh.
And so let's move her into the room here. And then we're going to get out of the way. Oh, it says undisclosed location right there. I like that.
It's undisclosed location, yes.
Anyway, let's let Susan take over. She's got her newsworthy poem that we call it our agenda because we like to talk about news items. But maybe she usually has about 6 to 8 of them. We usually talk about maybe 1, 2 at the most. But anyway, she does a great job putting the news into rhymes. So here it is. Susan Salisbury Sweetman with her poem for the news.
What's with the hand up there, Andy? You doing karate?
Yeah, it was space. But anyway, good luck.
All right, you have a big show tonight, and a lot of people to get on. So let me just read your poem and then I'm going to say bye-bye. I already went over the news, so Mark doesn't act like he doesn't know what the stories are. Here we go. The Writers Guild may have a tentative deal. Is it enough? How should we feel? More workers now join the UAW strike. Means layoffs are coming, not a wage increase. Another journalist was killed in Mexico, the second deadliest place for reporters. Did you know? Giorgio Napolitano has died in Rome, and COVID tests are coming back to your home. That's the poem.
All right. Well, thank you
Talk
very
amongst
much.
yourselves. Bye-bye.
Oh, you're taking off. That's it. You don't want to say hi to anybody?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. All right. Well,
Goodbye,
we'll see you.
everybody.
I'll see you. All right. I'll see you here later, I guess. I hope. Anyway, let's bring Andy back out here. And what order should we bring everyone else out here? Or do you want? Wait a minute. Let's talk about. I want to find out what's going on with Andy first. First of all,
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. You're still driving.
Yes.
And how many days a week are you doing that now?
Only 7 days a week.
But you do get to. I know you get to a Lions and a Tigers game every once in a while, so I know it can't be every night.
Yeah, it's just like, well, it's like, on those days you do a partial, so it's like, yeah, but that's going to change shortly. I mean, this last week I actually did a yard sale, which was I don't know, as I said before, I don't know what's more embarrassing, coming out of a strip joint, or being caught at a strip joint, or found doing a yard sale. I think that's basically. I think your yard sale is bad. I mean,
were there people tucking bills into your belt at the yard sale or something?
No, it's kind of similar. You're sort of like dancing, kind of like, hey, we got these really old things up here. You like porcelain figurines? Come on, it's just everything. And you're basically trying to clear out your basement. So everything you bought for like $100, you're selling for like a dime.
Yeah, and I'm horrible at these garage sales. I got to have my kids and my wife with me, because somebody will come up to me and they go, "Will you take a quarter for this?" And I said, "Yeah." And my wife will go, "That's a $50." She'll say, "It's $50." I go, "I'm trying to get rid of it." This is the idea is they're walking off with your garbage, that I'm just going to throw away anyway at the end of the thing if I don't sell it, And she's
exactly. It's not a one-way track to the Salvation Army,
Right.
So you're trying to get rid of the orphans before they go, come on,
Yeah.
It was, yeah, you're basically, as I was saying, it was like, for me, all I had was books. I'm a bookaholic. I always have to buy a book. I walk into a bookstore and I'm walking out with, I went to get some coffee and I'm walking out with 3 or 4 books. And honestly, I'll put the receipt inside, and I will honestly believe I'm going to read the book. I went through my history, my collection, and I found receipts from 2001. So I haven't cracked the book since 2001, and I'm holding on to it. No, it's for the future. And then the ones that you wanted to read, the people are like, the things that really meant to you, but you have to clear out the space, and you're arguing with somebody. You're like, hey, that's that's the best book ever written. We're talking about Pablo Picasso, Pablo Escobar, whatever, And you're saying it's only $1. You can't give me $1 for this book that caused genius. And they said, no, I'll give you 10 cents. Okay.
Do you have any books that you would read a second, third, or fourth time, like over and over again, that you like to go back to? Do you have any books like that?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Douglas Adams. I'll read Nick Adams stories by Hemingway. I like those stories. I like anything pretty much by Jack London. A lot of those.
Yeah. I read Call of the Wild at a garage sale.
Exactly.
It ended up being, I was sitting in a lawn chair, minding the coin box there, and somebody, it wasn't my Call of the Wild, but somebody who had joined our garage sale Do you do that too? Do you like have neighbors join in so they can sell crap? You know.
Yeah. So is
Anyway,
kind of the
and
thing.
somebody was selling Call of the Wild. Go, not so fast. I'm going to read this. I read it over a weekend one time.
Yeah.
You know what you can't. You know what you can't do that. I started to watch Get Back, Peter Jackson's Beatles 9-hour documentary. That needs a little time in between because I loved it. I loved watching 9 hours of it the first time I saw it. And then I said, "Hey, that was really good. I'm going to start watching it again." It's like about 20 minutes into it, I'm going, "Yeah, kind of draggy." I got the first time it didn't seem draggy at all, but the second time you're watching it, I got to give it some time in between viewings. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it takes like, you know how it ends sometimes, but you know, I try and find books that it's all about the characters.
Yeah.
You know.
You know what I did happen upon? This was on I can't remember if it was Netflix or Paramount Plus or where it was, but like the first 5 seasons of Mannix. Remember that CBS Private Eye?
Yeah, it was the music, man. It's like, you know, they jump off the thing, and he had that great secretary that was always like, you know.
Well, this is before the secretary. Joseph Campanella is still his boss at the season I'm in. We're just starting. We haven't gotten to the secretary yet, but it's great because it's so Mad Men old school. It's like, you know, he's smoking cigarettes. You know, he doesn't obey any of the speed laws. You know how you come to a complete stop before you make a right turn? No, not in Mannix. No. That doesn't happen there. You know, every girl that goes by, he looks at her ass as she's walking by. I mean, it's like so politically incorrect.
Now, he had a Mustang, didn't he?
Yes. Oh, actually, it's all Ford. This is back in the day when if he was driving a Mustang, the cop was driving an LTD, and the criminal was driving a Thunderbird. There's like, and then at the end you'd see the promotional cars provided as a promotion for Ford Motor Company. All the shows had a brand, and you never saw any other brand in that show except for that brand. Those are that is so old school. It just brought me back. It's been a lot of fun watching those.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
He's a hard pressed detective.
I think Sam has something to say about this, so I'm going to bring him.
Okay,
bring him in. He has something to say about those old TV detective shows.
I would like to say that the secretary's name in the show was Peggy.
Yes.
And I can't remember her real name, but she was an Emmy winner for that show.
Yes. For Mannix?
Yes. And here's a trivia question that no one on the planet but me knows the answer to.
Okay.
What was Mike Connor's real name?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't know.
Crakor Ohanian.
No kidding. Well, at least he kept it Irish.
Yes. Yes.
Crakor.
But you remember Joseph? Was it
Campanella?
Campanella. You remember Joseph Campanella?
Sure.
When he was because before he went off,
famous character actor.
They did about 6 or 7 seasons of that. But before he went off on his own, that's when he had the secretary, because he doesn't have a secretary in the season I'm watching. He was with that big office, and it's kind of like out of John Henry's story to it, where Joe Mannix is the old Hard Knocks private eye, kind of gets his fingers dirty and type of thing. Yeah. And Joseph Campanella, who runs the agency, has all these computers in the back room, where they're running all this data through the computers and everything. and Joe Mannix is trying to beat him like the steam shovel, like he's racing against the steam shovel or something.
Remember Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they're watching TV and they're watching Mannix.
Yeah, well, I hate to tell you this, hate to admit this, I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet, so
that's fine. I never watched Lord of the Rings. Now, here's something about Andy and I that are diametric opposites. Please hold your sense of humor, Release, until I finish.
Right. Okay.
I never read fiction.
Wow.
Only nonfiction. I never read fiction.
You know what?
Oh boy.
It's been a while since I don't read that much fiction either. And if it is,
unless you count Fox News,
it's usually from the list, the 100 books you should read before you die. That's usually the only fiction.
I've read 80 of those, but I started that when I was 30. So 35. So yeah, I've read 80 of those. I don't know if I'm going to get to the other 20. I just, the reason, and I never read science fiction because one time this friend of mine said, you have got to read this book on science fiction. It's great. So I open it up, and the first chapter is when Zorb entered the third ring of the planet Kalunda. I went, fuck this. Are you kidding me? Let's stop. What, some guy
It was the
smoked a
best
joint,
of
all of a sudden
epics.
there's a new solar system? Come on, man.
It was the best of eons. It was the worst of eons.
Worst of eons.
However, I am reading now The Loudest Voice in the Room about Roger Ailes.
Oh, well, again, nonfiction. So
I've read the first 120 pages, which is amazingly not one thing about Fox. You know, he used to be the executive producer of the Mike Douglas Show.
I remember that.
Oh,
And he produced two Broadway plays. And he was a hemophiliac.
Did not know that.
oh wow.
Well, you worked for him. You would know that stuff.
And I'll tell you something about him. As despicable a human being as he was with women, which I never knew about because I'm not a woman and I obviously never got hit on by him. When I got fired from, it wasn't Fox, it was the company he had before that called America's Talking. When I got fired from that, he fired me one day into my 16-week run. You know, 16 weeks every pay period kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So because of that, I got paid for 16 weeks notice. I got 16 weeks notice, and he knew what he was doing. He did that as a thank you to me.
Wow.
Because he easily could have done it the day before and just screwed me. And I got 4 months severance because of him.
Awesome.
And he said to me, he said, you know, I'm a little, this is Jane French's sister, Kathy. I need a ride. Okay. But anyway, he said, you're the only liberal I've never wanted to punch in the face.
Wow.
And I said,
he didn't pat your butt as you went by or anything like that. I mean, we're talking Roger Ailes.
Well, it was customary.
Oh, okay. You knew that came with a job when you hired him.
And I said to him, I said, well, gee, bring it, fat man. I said, I'll take you down like Trump bought down a building. Are you kidding?
Hey, Sam's got some stories, and I told him to wait because I wanted to get Jason in on it, and Wes, and Lisa's with us too. So let's get everybody in here tonight so Sam can tell his story. Here's Jason. Good to see you.
Hey, Jason.
Hey guys, how you doing? As always, Jason, your beard is lit perfectly. The rest of your
thank you
is in the
gorgeous
dark.
trim, as they say about my dates.
I'm all about beards. Gail Fisher is the person you're thinking of.
Who
played Peggy.
Yeah, she won an Emmy.
Yes, and also the book that you have to read over and over again for me, Harold Robbins, The Betsy.
Oh, that is a good book. That is, and it's not even considered one of the ones that are classic. But
well, you know, he wrote The Carpetbaggers.
Yeah,
and there was a line in that book that I will never forget. I can't remember the name of the character, but it wasn't Nevada Smith. I can't remember the name of the character. But this guy's, sleeping with this woman, and he dumps her. And she says, "You said you loved me." And he goes, "Man says a lot of things when he's humping." Which reminds me of a line from The Simpsons. Remember the character Duffman?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You said you love me. Duffman says a lot of things.
Here's one that I think follows in that same sort of vein is when George Kennedy's character in Cool Hand Luke goes, "Anybody look like that just got to be named Lucille."
Lucille. She doesn't know what she's doing. She knows exactly.
what she's doing.
So let me tell you my football.
Hold on. We don't have everybody out here yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's get Wesley out here. Here he is. Wesley Partridge from the Club, and here's our current Club big shot. Here's Lisa Green. There she is.
Yay,
big shot's a stretch.
All here. Now I should have brought them out sooner as an example of how we should light ourselves, because Mark, Wesley, and Lisa look pretty well lighted, and Sammy looks good lighted too. But what's the deal? Are you guys
Andy looks like he's in Witsack. Don't laugh, Jason. You're his cousin. Look at you.
I just pulled over from my most recent fair to join, just so that I could get this fusillade of abuse.
Now you're
So
still doing.
here's
You're
my-
still
here's
doing
my
Bears,
football.
even though you
Can I
got
do it
that
now?
job with Rivian or Chrysler, whoever you're
Yes,
driving
I'm
for?
still. I've just been assigned a new vehicle. Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Let's hear Sam's story. I'm
All right,
dying.
we need to hear Sam's story.
So here's
I'm
my
dying.
football story, and I think it's a great story. In 1961, the New York Giants, led by quarterback Y.A. Tittle,
Yes.
Hall of Famer, beat the Washington Redskins 53-0. 7 touchdowns, 2 safeties. Okay? With 3 minutes to go in the game, the coach of the Giants had Tittle throwing bombs to run up the score. 5 years later, 1966, Washington is beating the hell out of the Giants 69-41.
Yep.
And I remember there was a safety for Washington, Brig Owens, who actually recovered 2 fumbles and ran them back for touchdowns in that game. Anyway, it was 69-41 with 3 seconds to go. Sam Huff, a Washington linebacker who they got from the Giants, intercepted a pass at the 7-yard line of the Giants. And Otto Graham, Hall of Fame quarterback, coach of the Redskins, sent in the field goal kicker to kick a field goal and make it 72-41, which is the last time a team scored 70 points until yesterday.
Last night.
Yeah.
And Allie Sherman, who was coaching the Giants at the time, was enraged, even though he was the one who ordered Tittle to throw the bombs. And I was at that game. And I'm looking at the coaches through my binoculars. And Allie Sherman is steaming over this. And then I look over at Otto Graham, and his mouth is going to Allie Sherman. Because how do you like it, bitch? Kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know.
And
So
who's got the? Hold on, just a technical thing. Who's got the instant messenger going off with all the dings?
Not
Anybody
me.
hear that besides me?
Just you. Why, it's just you.
All
What
right.
is this, gaslight?
Someone had sent me a message on my on my phone, and sadly, because it's part of the cloud, it goes to you guys as well. I've answered them, so hopefully they don't continue to interfere.
I'm just every 4 seconds I'm hearing a signal, like I'm getting a message or something, but there's
maybe
no
it's just you.
There's no messages coming. There's no messages coming across.
I'm not getting one.
No.
You know what?
No one
At
likes
any rate,
me.
Sam,
No one asked me how's my ass, by the way. I'm a little upset.
How's your ass, Sam?
Well, never better.
Good.
We did the test,
Yeah.
and they haven't gotten back to me. So according to my
they've determined it's an
oncologist,
ass.
well, according to my oncologist, that no news is good news.
Well, there you go.
You know, so we'll see.
Just one last, or just something I wanted to toss in, because you'd mentioned Y.E. Tittle in the afterwards that I was listening to on David Halberstam. He was writing a book. He was starting to write a book on the NFL, on pro football. And his last interview was he was going to go out and interview Y.A. Tittle when sadly he was involved in a fatal car crash.
In
ended
DC,
up taking
I
his
hear
life.
that. In DC.
Yeah. That's me, guys. I'm gonna bow out and deal with this crap so you guys don't have to.
Real quick though, let me tell you this real quick, Jason, before you do that. The next year, the Giants had a horrible season, and there is a classic Hall of Fame photograph of Y.A. Tittle
with the
who
blood.
got slammed, and he's on his knees,
Yep.
bleeding from his head. A trail of blood going down the side of his face.
Wasn't it Tittle versus Johnny Unitas for one of the first? Was that the first or second Super Bowl? Am I mistaken?
Tittle never
that?
played in the Super Bowl.
Okay, it was a title game then. All right.
Yeah. He
Jason, it is you, because when I
the
mute
title
you,
game was against the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
Jason, it is you, because when I mute you, I don't get that ringing.
Okay, I'm gonna bow out, guys. I'll be back in a little bit. You guys just talk amongst yourselves, and please let's not persecute Lisa like we always do with silly questions.
Lisa can handle. Lisa, I have all.
I know she's a full-grown.
Instead, ask me no questions.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Can I quote a question, or can I quote a statement from Sweet Smell of Success?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I hate to take a bite out of you. You're a cookie filled with arsenic.
Yeah. What a great movie. That's an excellent movie.
What a great script.
Oh my God.
I watch that movie every
this
chance I get. Every time it's on Turner Classic, I watch it. Every time.
It's
oh my God.
you know that story about Clifford Odette?
No.
Burt Lancaster had him almost kidnapped to finish the script. And there's Tony Curtis has a story where he wrote about it. He says, I'm walking through the set of Sweet Smell of Success, and I hear this faint typing going on somewhere. And he wanders through and he opens the closet, and there's Clifford Odette next to a typewriter, just typing away. And he looked at the script and he says, Oh, it's the famous Magoo line, you know. Are you blind, Magoo?
Yes. Hey, Charlie, if you're funny, I'm a pretzel. Drop dead.
Yeah. Yeah. What a great script.
Oh man, I mean, just one line after you're dead, son. Get yourself buried.
Yes. And
by the way, here's a little bit of trivia that no one but us cares about. I don't even know if we do, but the girl who played Burt Lancaster's sister in that movie, Susan Harrison.
Yes.
She is the mother of Darva Conger, who was the woman on Who Do You Want to Marry a Millionaire?
Oh, I remember her.
Wow. Okay.
Susan Harrison is her mother, and there was a comic who was on that show. Rick something.
Rick Rockwell.
Thank you so much. And he was the millionaire until somebody said he's not a millionaire. He's not and he said, well, I own 3 homes, and the total of them is $1 million, but you can't get your hands on $1 million. That's a millionaire. You're not a millionaire. And so he said, well, I guess I'm not. You guess you're not. You got on the show saying you were, well, and of course the fault lies with the producers.
Yeah.
That's who the fault lies with. But yeah, that was Susan Harrison's daughter, Darva Conger.
Well, I knew Rick Rockwell from San Diego.
I knew him from Rooster T. Feathers in Sunnyvale, California.
In Sunnyvale, California.
Love that gig. Tony Modica, the guy who owned that gig. Oh my God. You could stay at his house. It was a beautiful house with a pool. You stayed in the guest house. Oh man.
One of the girls that worked in the office there, Beth, can't think of her last name, but she lives here in Ann Arbor now. I'm trying to think of her name. But she was a Rooster T. Feathers book, one of the people that worked in the office with him.
Oh, and by the way, if this is in the back of anyone's head, let me answer it now. No, I did not fast.
You did not fast.
That's okay. That's our stunned silence, Sam. That 3 seconds there. That was our stunned silence.
Well, you know, it's Yom Kippur.
I like Jeff Dwoskin. You know Jeff Dwoskin from here in Detroit? He's a Jewish comic. His line is, "Do I fast? Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere."
That's funny. That's funny. Oh my God, is that funny? That's great. Yeah, no, I celebrate the 3. I think I told you this. The 3 great Jewish holidays: Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and the Oscars.
Yeah, I like that one.
And here's the thing. I have a holiday that's in honor of that and a hip hop artist. It's Tupac Kippur. Tupac Kippur, folks.
I get it.
Yeah,
but not enough.
I just like the idea that Jason came back just to laugh at that joke and then disappeared again.
Well.
Okay, now that Jason's back, I have a joke.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to wait for Jason to come back.
I'm back.
All right.
What does Jason look like? He's buried up to his neck. What is that?
Can't do nothing to make you people happy, can I?
It's what happens when you piss off the mob.
Well, if you saw
Jason, an undisclosed graveyard.
show last night, he pissed off a lot of people.
Oh boy,
That'll teach you to call Barry Gordy the N-word. So here's the joke. During World War II, an American pilot is shot down, and the plane crashes, and one of his legs is badly mangled. And while he's in the prison hospital, the German doctor comes up to him and says, "Unfortunately, we are going to have to amputate your leg." And the guy says, "Well, that's really horrible, but could you do me a favor? Could you wrap the leg up and mail it to my mother to let her know I'm fighting the good fight?" And he goes, "That's an unusual request, but we'll do it." So he does. And the next day, the guy is hobbling around on one leg, and a prison bus comes in, doesn't see him, hits him, runs over the other leg. And the doctor says, "I don't know how to tell you this, but we're going to have to amputate the other leg." And he says, "Well, that's, the way it goes. Could you mail that leg to my mother?" He goes, "Well, all right." So 2 days later, he's working in a tool and die thing, prison work. And his sleeve gets caught up in the machine, and his arm gets badly mangled. And the doctor says, "Your luck is unbelievably bad. We are going to have to amputate your arm." And he says, he says, excuse me, Colonel. I have been talking to the commandant, and if I may be blunt, we think you are trying to escape.
All right, yeah. So my set pissed some people off last night, huh? Oops.
Oh, I don't know. It was just
not one of my better nights. It happens.
Well,
if you don't piss off somebody, you're not doing it right.
That's what I say.
No, it was just one of those.
Yeah, I didn't like your set. Well, I didn't like your breath, and you were sitting in the front row, and yet here we both are, having survived that tragedy.
All right, so it looks like the writers have a tentative agreement with the studio.
Yes, they do.
All right, and so now I guess we need the actors to get the same deal for themselves, or at least whatever they need.
I almost got the feeling, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I got the feeling that the actors' strike was in sympathy, that they didn't have an issue, or did they? Because their strike came right on the heels, of the WGA strike. It was almost
correct.
I hadn't heard anything about them striking.
Well, I think
until the writers struck.
I think because the writers brought up AI, and I think that's the big issue for the actors too.
Well, it's definitely. A big
and guess
issue
what
for
happened? The writers went on strike, and then suddenly Harrison Ford's movie comes out, and he looks like he's 35 years old, and everyone goes, "Oh, all the actors go, oh shit, they can do AI," and so they probably
that was makeup and lighting. I mean, that wasn't
What's that?
That was makeup and lighting. I mean, that's that wasn't.
No, that was computer graphics.
Was it really?
Yes.
Goddamn Spielberg.
Yes, that was that was industrial light and magic.
I bet he didn't fast.
Yeah, that's for sure.
No, I think also it's about.
Well,
it's also about.
And of course they did. They're talking like the UAW now is striking against all three, and they're acting like it's a big deal. But I mean, that's what the writers did. They struck against everybody.
Well, with the writers, you can't strike against ABC and not strike against HBO. You can't.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It has to be right down the line.
Well, I think I always wondered why they picked one auto company, because what they used to do is they'd pick one auto company, right? Yeah. And they'd strike against them, and then they'd use whatever they agreed to go to all the other auto companies.
Right. It was the pattern.
They
used that. They established the pattern.
Yeah.
And then take it to the other three.
Here's what Ford agreed to. So here you go. And I've noticed that they've done rather well in the negotiations with Ford. Did you hear about this? Because when they expanded the strike, they did it against Stellantis and GM, but not against Ford. Right. Because Ford settled with the UAW over in Canada last week.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that probably had something to do with it. But when they struck Stellantis and GM, they struck against their parts operations.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because
are they striking against? I'm sorry. Are they striking against Tesla?
No.
Nope. Tesla's a non-union shop.
Tesla doesn't have any UAW workers. And that's the other thing too. They should be going after some of these company. They always go after the big three, they should be going after. There's a lot of Toyota, Honda,
Well,
Nissan.
BMW and Mercedes-Benz have the 2 largest production plants in the world down in South Carolina.
Are the big 3 all American owned?
They're owned by stockholders and they're worldwide. I mean, you can't really call them American because their headquarters are here, but really their stocks are worldwide stocks. So the stockholders are all over the world, including a lot of governments that own stock in the big 3.
Well, but I'm saying the CEOs of all those car companies are American.
Yes,
no. Not Stellantis. No, the Stellantis.
No. I meant Chrysler, Ford, and GM.
Well, Chrysler's owned by Stellantis now, which is a foreign.
Yeah, Ford CEO. I don't know who he is now, but just a few years ago, he was Australian.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, but the CEO of GM was a year behind me at Waterford Mott High School, and she's from the old neighborhood. She's probably the only CEO they've ever had that started on the shop floor and worked her way up.
I started on the shop floor and worked my way up, but it wasn't for CEO.
Yeah, I know.
Barry Gordy started on the shop floor.
He was he worked for Lincoln Mercury.
Yeah,
for the Ford divisions. Yep,
up there at Wixom.
You know he's 93.
Yes, he is.
Yep. And
I got to tell you
something.
Great. I don't throw this word around a lot, but he's a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of years ago, I actually delivered the CEO of Ford's son's Christmas present. It was an old what was it? It was a T-Bird. And I get there to the headquarters, in Dearborn, and to deliver my vehicle.
Yeah.
Mr. Peterson was the CEO at the time of Ford.
I remember Peterson. Yeah.
He came out to check it in himself. And what did I do? I locked the fucking keys in the car.
Yeah.
Well, that'll show him.
Yep.
Don't take any shit, Wesley.
So
you're a big shot. Open the goddamn door yourself.
That's I'm not allowed to say the company I'm presently working for. It sounds a lot like Rivian. At any rate, I without going into any further details, I have been assigned now a brand new pre-production vehicle. So I'm kind of happy about that. As soon as this is over, I have to jet out there to get briefed by some folks because it's a pre-production vehicle. Some things are working, some things are not. They're not ready to go yet. So.
Yeah, just make sure the brakes are one of the things that are working. That's all you need to do.
Well, at this point, Mutual of Omaha just sent me a accidental insurance policy for $1 million for accidental death. And I'm thinking, hell, it might make somebody happy, I mean, we can work something out of this whole wretched... GREENFIELD. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
do they make anything other than pickup trucks?
They are making an Amazon van, which is a lot like a prison vehicle with packages, which isn't fair to prisons actually, but that is one of their major contracts. And my understanding is Amazon has a large stake in Rivian.
Oh, okay.
Which wouldn't surprise me. But right now we also have an SUV, a full SUV. I don't know if that one's been out into the general pop yet. I'm all about the gen pop. But I have to admit I'm rather pleased that they have selected me to take on this new vehicle. I'm not sure exactly what they want me to do, but it's nice to be wanted. On something besides a poster. So there you go. I'm sorry for the interruptions and delays tonight, guys. I've been getting a whole bunch of, for some reason or another, 9 o'clock at night is exactly the time people need to get a hold of me now. This seems to be the time. Also,
I had a friend who drove a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And he's in the truck with his wife, and they pull up. We're having a party, and they pull up to the party, and his wife had a look on her face like, she had just about had it. I don't know how to describe it. She had just about had it. So I said, and it was a brand new truck, shiny red, really nice.
Nice.
And I had to help her down because, it was
tall.
It was a jump for her to get off the truck. So I said, wow, this is a nice
Because it was American.
It was American, goddamn it.
American truck.
You're goddamn right. And I said to him, I said, have you always driven a pickup truck? And he goes, Sammy, every truck I drive is a pickup truck, if you know what I mean. and the look on her face, I hope you can see this, but it was like this. Oh, fucking kill me. Just kill me. She goes, the last time you got laid, you were, and I went, carpet. She literally, this was the look on her face, like, just, because he whatever the opposite of smooth operator is, that's him.
Yeah.
Okay. He would be the kind of guy who'd approach a woman at a bar and say, are you out of breath? Because you've been running through my mind. And then he would give the woman 3 seconds to throw up and leave.
Oh,
God, you've been running through. Oh, shut up. God. Even the bartender went, that's your best shot? Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's good.
When the bartender's heckling you.
Oh, my goodness. Uh-oh, Mark bailed out. Uh-oh, what happened?
And I said to him, let me ask you a question. Besides the fact you're married and you're openly cheating on your wife and in your own neighborhood, which I find amazingly stupid, but I said, whatever happened to just going up to a woman and saying hi? Just hi.
In this modern age, I don't know. That might actually work out kind of well. I don't know.
I don't see why it would work out badly. Hi.
No, it would probably go over. I mean, I've been on the as I often note, the Grindr app for a couple of years to the point where it's about to explode, and all the usual.
All you have to do is ignore women. Just ignore them, and then they'll come up to you drunk and breathing every sense of marijuana, and they'll be saying things to you. They're rubbing your back. They're rubbing your body the whole time, and then your wingman leaves you there.
You know what worked for a friend of mine, and he's not married, wearing a wedding band.
Yes.
Because the woman's reasoning is, well, someone likes him.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm. Waitresses do it all the time.
Say that again.
So waitresses wear wedding bands all the time, even though they're not married. Because they don't want people hitting on them.
When I did a gig in Winnipeg, the woman, one of the waitresses there, she was so pretty. You know that comic, the Christian comic, Brad Stein?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was dating him. And I said to her, and this is before I knew about his conversion. I said to her, who are you dating? She goes, Brad Stein. Like that. And I went, well, what's he like? She goes, I'm a Christian, but I don't need to be saved on a date.
Right.
I really don't need to be saved. I said, what do you mean? He asked me if I had accepted, this is on a date, if I had accepted Jesus into my life as my personal savior. And she said, are we going to order food? Because I'm starved.
Yeah, but I said, do Jewish guys go out and court their women by saying, you want to help me nail Jesus to a cross? I mean,
no, we usually just have
no. What they say is, my mother would love you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's great. That's wonderful.
Or we glue our law degree to our forehead.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I'm a doctor. I
don't want to sound pretentious, but it's actually doctor, if you don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the head of gastroenterology.
Remember that thing in Broadway, Danny Rose? How old are you, Johnny? He's 40. He's a poet.
Now there's a movie I could watch over and over again.
I could watch every Woody Allen movie over and over again, including Stardust Memories.
Now you would be perfect for my idea for the YouTube channel. and that is we get our kids and we watch movies with them. So we could do like a Woody Allen series where we watch with our kids and then do reviews with the kids.
I'd have to kidnap my daughter to make that happen.
She wouldn't be. She wouldn't be into that. Well,
My
part of the skit would be they would have to introduce us to something from
their. Oh, that she would do in a heartbeat.
Like music or whatever.
Oh no, that she would do in a heartbeat.
Movies
there's a ton of stuff that she and my wife watch that I don't watch. A ton.
Oh, I can't. My girls watch this show called Dance Moms that just I got to leave the house when it's on.
Is that the one where the dance instructor is named Abby?
Yes.
I waited on her. She did a year in jail,
I know.
But she was very nice. I get the feeling that sometimes these things are like fake, on these reality shows. She was nice. She was very pleasant.
Okay.
No problem.
It's not. It's not.
Is Honey Boo Boo still on the air?
Abby kind of.
It comes and goes.
No.
No.
Okay. I mean, Mama June's still around. Doing
Mama
June's
still around. I thought Honey Boo Boo would make an appearance now and then on that.
Because I kind of figured at this point she'd be riding the pole or doing time or in a convent. I mean, or some,
That'd have to be a heavy pole.
Well, or a big convent. Yeah,
Anymore, I've got about 8 different YouTube channels that I watch. I don't watch that much that's produced by New York or Hollywood anymore.
I like the show about pregnant women, Love After Knockup. Why, thank you.
Hey, just heard from my pal. We should have the first draft of our new theme song in an hour or so. So and to show him what I wanted, I sent him over a clip of the old medical center intro, which is an old Aloe Schifrin number. If you look it up, the medical
Mission
center.
Impossible.
Chad, yep, and also I sent him over the Barney Miller theme. So he's going to try and synthesize something out of that. Barney Miller was, of course, Quincy Jones did the production on that.
Did you know that Barney Miller was the TV show that most cops think was the most accurate portrayal of policemen?
Yeah, and only one set.
They sit around all day. They rarely, it's not like a dramatic come down from that roof kind of shit.
No.
Routine busts. Nothing spectacular. My favorite one on that show, I don't mean actor, but when they accidentally ate pot brownies.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Max Gale.
When Yamada, Jack Sue, he comes in, he goes, has anybody seen my legs? What? They're about this long. and then Fish, Abe Vigoda, he chases a kid by jumping between buildings. A 17-year-old kid. He was supposed to be like 60 at the time of the show. And he grabs the kid. And the kid, he says, I can't believe it. I jumped the roof. I thought, well, that gets rid of this old codger. And all of a sudden, he's got me by the neck. What do you think? You're dealing with rookies? Oh, God, that was a great show.
No,
Max Gale, who played
Wojciechowicz.
Max Gale's sister, Emily, ran a bodega near our apartment when we lived downtown.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, remember who his partner was on that show? His female partner? Linda Lavin.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't know that she was on the show.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
She wasn't on for long.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, by the way, speaking of New York, I just talked with a friend of mine. As I've said, he sells real estate in New York, and he really wants me to come out. So if I come out there, how hard is it to get some stage time at some comedy clubs? Because that would be the only reason to go out there, would be the...
I think it's difficult.
It is difficult, and there's plenty of things to do in New York. Besides, when I go to New York, I don't even want to think about comedy. There's so many more
Jason,
things to do.
I say this as a friend. It's the last thing you want to do.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would say the same
thing. It's the last thing you want to do. I'll tell you why, okay?
Okay, I'm listening.
Because you're going to come into a club, and you're going to wait 4 fucking hours.
Right.
And you'll wait, and you'll wait, and you'll wait, and you'll wait. And when there's 3 people in the audience...
Right.
And the bartender is mopping the bar top.
Right.
And they go, all right, do 3 minutes.
We try to
Right.
recreate that every Sunday night at the Unclub. So just to get people ready for going to New
Well,
York.
I'm about to say that I actually have quite a bit of experience with that. Yeah,
I haven't been on stage in New York since 1989, no, 92. Since 1992. And the reason that is because I would only go up on stage in New York if I had an audition. So usually I left LA to go to New York. So I auditioned for, basically it was television shows or commercials. I never did anything and nothing theatrical. I didn't do
if you go
stage
into that,
plays.
if you go into a room rookie fresh,
yeah,
I wouldn't wish it on a dog.
So is there anything else you guys can do to crush all my comedy dreams into a fine dust?
I can tell you a lot of things to do that'll keep you occupied and happy.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm serious.
I'm interested in following.
I like it,
Jason.
Yeah.
I'm interested in following Tommy Cook.
Right.
Because Tommy's really only been doing it 2 or 3 months, and at our dojo on Sunday, he was talking about, no, I'm ready to go out there. He's talking about going to Cincinnati and Chicago. I says, well, tell me how it goes, because it's not the same Cincinnati and Chicago that I went to, because I did not go to Cincinnati and Chicago unless there was a paycheck at the end of the week. And so I'm not used to this. Go out and see if I get discovered. If you're going to be discovered, you're going to get discovered on YouTube, on TikTok, or you're going to get a TV show on Hollywood or New York.
One of the biggest complaints that professional comics have in New York is that most of the shows are, I don't know if you're familiar with this, bringer shows.
Yep. Yeah, they do that out in LA too.
And comics are saying, there's no place to go to work out a routine. There's no place to go and work out a set.
Right.
Because Johnny Flubbutt, has brought his 15 of his uncles in, who just came from a bowling tournament.
Right.
Yep. And they're there to drink themselves into a coma and yell the N-word at the first non-white comic they see.
Like last night, terrible show for me, but the thing is, it actually was productive, because I did get to use a couple of lines that I wanted to test drive. I wanted to get up there and run them and see how they felt. They didn't get a great reception, but that doesn't matter to me, because the one thing I've learned over time is you can take something up, maybe it doesn't work so well the first time, but after a while you kind of figure out where the beats are at. Yeah. And then it starts to work. You know what I'm saying?
Like I was talking to Yogi last night too, because we're working with Yogi about his language. Everybody can understand him when he's speaking to you across the table or something.
What is Yogi's nationality?
He's Hindi. He's Hindi from India.
Yeah, he's from India, and he's here on not as a citizen.
He's a work visa. He's on a work visa.
Yeah, he's on a work visa.
I
couldn't remember. I didn't want to say green card, but work visa. And so that is one of his struggles as a comic, is that, he has this like cultural basis in another country and like a language barrier and all of that. But he's really a phenomenal person, and he's very funny.
Great energy.
But we've been working with him on, I said, don't worry about the language problem. And I gave him, I was giving him some old YouTubes of Yakov Smirnoff. I go, here's a guy.
I love him.
He really wasn't. Yeah, he's a great guy, and now
and smart.
He's probably he is. He knows more than just English
richer than
and Russian.
Roosevelt.
Too.
Are you kidding?
He knows about 8 languages. But anyway,
he's got a theater. He's got a theater in
Branson. Yep.
When he first came here, he was a bartender in the Catskills, and that's how he learned. No, when he first came here, he came off the boats, the cruise ships that toured the Black Sea.
Yep.
As a comic who spoke only in Russian, and he came here and learned how to speak English, which is so much harder than Russian. If you're switching languages.
Yes.
And he picked it up that way, and then I told you the story about him and Jack Swarzy, right?
Which one is that?
Well, Jack Swarzy was a juggler, and he
Jack.
went by the name Jugglin' Jack Swarzy, or as Mark Klein referred to him, Struggling Jack Swarzy. And so he and I, Yakov, and he's a lovely guy. We're working in Richmond, Virginia. He was the headliner, and the woman from the Richmond newspaper was interviewing him. And while she's interviewing him, it was a nice day. We were staying in a condo. We're sitting outside, nice day, we're sitting in lawn chairs. And I said, do you mind if I watch the interview? He said, no, not at all. I said, I won't interfere. He said, I knew you wouldn't. Why would you? While he's interviewing, Jack Swarzy is standing behind him, juggling.
Ugh.
And he said, well, I have to work out a routine. I said, this is 900 square foot backyard.
Yeah,
you chose to stand behind him. And
Yeah.
and Yakov said something I'll never forget. He said, you know something? Everyone has a certain time to make it.
Yep.
And if you have that moment, you seize on it. He said,
Right.
this is my time. And he stepped on it. I said, are you mad? He said, I don't have to be mad. I'm never going to forget him. I'm never going to forget him. And I don't know if I haven't seen. And the other thing that bothered me about Swersey was I thought he had these really clever routines. They came with the juggling equipment. They came with the juggling equipment. These little cute
tricks when you buy
these little cute pattern things.
Right?
He didn't write a fucking thing. You know,
Yeah,
nothing. And he was a great juggler, but you know, don't ruin the guy's interview. And here's another thing. Yakov was offered $3,000 to go to Miami on Saturday night that we were working to work in Miami for a Jewish group.
And he didn't do it. You told me this story before.
Well, he was going to do. No, he asked the woman. He asked April Passarella, "Can I take this off? I'll pay you for the headliner out of my pocket." She said, "I can't do it," and she wasn't lying. She said, "I've got so many people who took reservations because you're here, not because they want to go to a. You're here. I can't. I'll lose $3,000." So he didn't go. You know, and you know how many comics I know who would go tough shit and leave.
Yep.
Oh man, are you kidding? No, and he did the right thing. But he's huge in Branson.
I got two. I got two Yakov stories. One was, one I had nothing to do with, but you know, he takes his whole theater staff, which is like about 120 people.
Who's this, Yakov?
Yakov from Branson, and takes him to an all-inclusive resort or a cruise ship. Rents 120 rooms on a cruise ship. And they get the 2 weeks for Christmas holiday for the end of the year, like the week before Christmas and the week after Christmas. And they go to these resort locations in the Caribbean or wherever in Central America or even Europe and Mediterranean. And he does that every year. He takes his whole theater staff.
No wonder he turned down my job application.
The other story is on our honeymoon, Susan and I had made arrangements to do an audition at Garvin's because we were coming back from Florida.
In D.C.?
In D.C., yeah. And we didn't know this, but we got there. And I don't know if it was a scheduling screw up or something like that. But the co-headliners for this show, or maybe one was staying on a day after, but it was a Sunday night. And so he says, come on Sunday. We usually don't have that many people. But somebody was there and this is back when Garvin's was doing, this is 83. So Garvin's was.
Oh, that was a hot club.
They were doing 7 nights a week, right?
Yeah, they were a hot club. Oh, yeah.
So Sunday nights was normally the night where they'd have open mic, but they had Yakov Smirnoff the week before, and he stayed over till Sunday. And the coming up week was Bill Maher. And so the two of them were both there Sunday night, and that's the night I auditioned. And so I was on the show. I was on the only show, and nobody could ever believe this, but I was on the only show that had both Bill Maher and Yakov Smirnoff.
I hosted that open mic.
Did you open that? Did you host that?
I hosted that open mic.
Now, why was I think? I always told people that it was that night you hosted it.
As a rule, I hosted it.
Oh, okay. Because I always thought it was William Stevenson that was there that night.
Could have been William, of blessed memory. Could have been him.
Yeah, I think it was William Stevenson because that's one of the reasons I got in because he's from Detroit too. So
well, the what I'm looking at right now, and you're right about. I mean, obviously, I've been big fan of the podcast that we're presently doing.
Right.
You're absolutely right about nowadays you have to be multi-platformed across all kinds of crazy shit. But there's still no substitute for being able to walk up on stage and being able to do 5 minutes.
You're right.
My routine last night notwithstanding.
But you're right. But the ability to craft a YouTube channel or any of those channels will give you the opportunity to do what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because what those are now is that's like an open mic on a much higher level. Yep. Because your YouTube will be polished and professional, as opposed to going up there and going, "Where are you from?" They're going, "Oh, are you?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm seriously thinking about this now. Is not putting any of my stand-up content online, but putting stuff that's entertaining and engaging in 30 to 60 seconds in snippets like that. And then because what that does is that gets butts in the seats. And if you can do a show like I can do for 45 minutes to an hour, then they're kind of like, oh, we didn't realize. We were just coming here because we see them all the time on YouTube or something.
Well, I want to do a YouTube
I think that's
called
really the way to go.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What's that? Well, we're out of time anyway.
I wanted to do a YouTube channel called
love to
Shit
talk
I've
about this.
Stolen. So, what do you think?
Well,
our
Jokes I have
got,
stolen by Sam Greenfield.
that'll work.
Jokes I have stolen by Sam Griffin.
well, I
It's
just want to see
it's
Lisa
simple
do
move.
the emo
That's
couple
right.
at Apple.
All right, well, I gotta wrap it up. We'll talk after we go on
All right.
the live stream. But thanks for joining us here every Monday night.
I love you, Lisa. I don't care what anybody
Good night, everybody.